tax the rich.
$50 million!
The Daily Wire offered podcast host Steven Crowder $50 million, and he took offense.
For those of you who have no idea who these chodes are, Steven Crowder... So many people in our audience are going to hate this segment. I already know it. Steven Crowder is a YouTube commentator who fancies himself a comedian. He's basically the more successful male version of me. He's known for dressing like a woman and trying to pretend like he's getting paid like one. If you've ever walked into a party and gone, ugh, that guy, it's probably Steven Crowder. That's what he is. He's that guy online. Steven Crowder is the Chelsea Handler of right-wing comedians. Just now you have your picture in your mind. This week, the civil war that conservative pundits have been threatening finally broke out, only it broke out amongst themselves. And a massively hilarious glimpse into the inner workings of the contracts that go down with all of these folks. Basically, Crowder wanted people to sign up for his email list. This is what I understand.
Enter in your email at stopbigcon.com.
He left the Blaze, and then he was in negotiations with a company he didn't mention, and he did a video talking about their contract that he felt was a way to use big tech to silence him, and it was beneath him entirely.
Just subdue you a little bit. Just soften your edges a little bit. Just play ball a little more so we can keep our content all monetized and keep having cocktails with those in charge of big tech.
Everyone kind of knew it was the Daily Wire, and then the Daily Wire came out. Jeremy Boring, who's the head of the Daily Wire, read the entire contract. Long story short, it came out that it was for $50 million over the course of 4 years. $50 million!
15 million! Ah!
You created this monster!
What's your name, boy?
Right. Clearly guilty of rape, of course, as she insinuated. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
this is what Mr. Gay Vox wants.
No, my slave, Colin Kaepernick, got his ass kicked.
Mr. Let's Be Queer.
Now, to be fair, $50 million is a low ball figure for a guy who has shockingly managed to weaponize male rage and is very popular. And over the course of 4 years, if you figure what he could be making, it is a low ball, but that's kind of where Jeremy Boring notoriously starts all of his negotiations. So it was a starting point. It got ugly. And then Crowder released a taped phone call, which is just ridiculous, of that he had with Jeremy. And so the whole thing is getting ugly. So all the stands came crawling out of the woodwork. Crowder stands, Daily Wire stands. But they all came out and said, it's not about the money. He's got integrity, because they were including a lot of these kind of restrictions on what would happen if he got demonetized on YouTube. It would cost him money. And that's not common, by the way. That's not like a standard thing that you have in contracts. So he's not lying that it's not common. He was very offended because they've all been friends for 10 years, and it's turned into this very public, very messy, very hilarious thing to watch because everybody's kind of gross in one way or another. No one looks great on this. All the stands were saying it's not about the money, and if you believe it's not about the money, folks, well, I have a bridge to sell you.
Send us an offer, tell us how much money you're willing to pay, and he gave us an indication of what the minimum number would have to be in order to even have a discussion with Steven. And it's a big number.
It's always about the money because capitalism always wins. All these freaking chodes know that. This is all about money. Crowder was taking this high road and being very pleased with himself for turning down $50 million. And I'm sure that he'll probably be on a plane to Africa to lose his mind any minute now.
$50 million.
But this is very liberal tactics, which is funny. This is Kaepernick tactics. This is, I am turning down the money and I'm taking a knee on the Daily Wire field.
Well, didn't he say something about it being slavery too in some sort of
He said it was a slave contract, yeah. And that essentially this is a way he would be kind of enslaved by this contract, which can we not be so fast and loose with words like slavery, Hitler? I mean, again, liberal. These are liberal tactics. It's kind of funny to watch.
We called Kaepernick out for the same thing.
Yes, we did. And actually, so did Crowder. What do you know?
Colin Kaepernick also, here's another one, compared the NFL to slavery in his new Netflix special.
I was just making fun of how tone deaf it is to say, be whining about $50 million to your populist audience when people can't afford eggs and electricity and gas in this hellish winter of under the Biden administration. And somehow I had all the stands in my mentions telling me that I was an idiot and coming after me, which also not shocking. But I'm sorry, $50 million? You're going to whine about that? It's fun for everyone to see how much these chodes are making. Fun for everyone but me. $50 million?
Where are her accolades?
50. I need to figure out how to weaponize male rage because that is where the money is at online.
Well, unfortunately, when you try, it just all gets directed at you.
No, I know they all come for me, which they did, thanks to lots of pundits who were telling me that I was a moron. And so Crowder was like, watch out for Big Con. Dude, you are Big Con. Like, you're all fucking Big Con. I don't understand what you're talking about. This is like Donald Trump warning people to look out for billionaires, but everybody falls for it. And I'm telling you, people were worried about the pandemic, but you should be more worried about the standemic. Because there's an epidemic of people out there and they need to simp for their hero. We saw it with Trump. We saw it with the Obama bros. We know this phenomenon, but men, what is the need for simping? I think that was the nerve that I struck. I managed to piss everyone off, which, not surprising. I can be annoying online. I think it's funny. I'm the Steven Crowder of chicks, apparently. Only not as successful.
Only very, very not.
But it is like I have had Antifa come for me, the Groyper Army, Black Twitter has come for me. I'm pretty sure I can handle the Mug Club. I am the bug zapper of simps. Why are you guys defending rich people who don't care about you? They're just the Harry and Meghan stans on the other side. I mean, seriously, though, it's funny that all these straight white dudes are like turning on each other because they have no natural predators. And liberals need to step up their game. Conservatives are fighting with each other. They're not even fighting with liberals anymore. They've owned all of liberals. Now they're trying to own each other. It's like a battle to who can own all of the cons in the conservative media sphere. I don't know. I think it's funny. I've been really fascinated with all of it. And this is Biden inflation for you. $50 million and you can't even live paycheck to paycheck. Unbelievable. $50 million?
$50 million?
I know what the simps are going to say in the mentions. They're going to be like, actually, that's a restrictive. This is how negotiations work. And especially with Jeremy Boring, you lowball at the very base and then you go work up and you have a conversation. You don't just cry online about somebody offering you $50 million.
And that's your lowball?
Yeah. I mean, Jeremy said in his video, it could have been upwards of 100.
Just kill me.
And we're out here taking hits from simps.
Freezing our asses off.
$50. I mean, that's the real thing is I'm just jealous that these fucking chodes are getting $50 million. $50 million.